ジタバタせずにコーヒーでも入れよう。
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, I got a cookie in my mouth.
Is that your breakfast? The breakfast of champion.
Yeah, the sesame cookie. I dip them in my coffee.
Oh, nice. No biscuit? What kind of Italian are you?
I ran out.
Oh, that's all right. It happens. So Rich, you said it's snowing up by you.
Yep.
Raining out by me. Mike, what about you?
Raining over here too.
Lucky.
Yeah. Look, man, I don't know. In the winter, I'd almost rather have snow.
It's not
All the
even
snow
that
we got
cold
is already
over here.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anywho, let's see. We got a few people watching. Say hi in the chat if you're watching. And today we're gonna focus on one specific movie, and that, of course, is going to be Son of Godzilla. We're going to talk about like the collectibles from that, as well as the movie itself. Good morning, Christine. I'm sure it's sunny where you are.
Probably.
Yeah. Hello, wife. I know it's raining where you are. So, I mean, there's we could touch on a few other things, though, beforehand. First off, I want to congratulate James Hartman for bringing the Son of Hartman. Speaking of the Son of Godzilla, Son of Hartman arrived sometime yesterday. So congrats to him. Love that guy.
Congratulations.
Healthy. Yeah,
Sir.
very cute baby. Full head of hair on that kid.
Baby heart manimal.
Yeah. Dude, that kid has a lot of hair. I told James, I was like, dude, he has more hair than you. So good for him, man. Good for him. Big Ken. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. His baby came out lifting 50-pound weights. Probably.
Baby's gonna have protein in its bottle.
Yeah, like this baby has a high amount of protein. Oh God. So good for him, man. That's awesome. Good stuff. I know he's excited. So that's good stuff there. Also, I guess we could talk about that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. That's a thing I never thought I'd see in my life.
Nope.
Especially an Academy Award nomination for special effects.
Of all things.
Of all things, yeah.
Are we gonna dig into that a little bit or no?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dig away.
The only thing I want to say is if you guys have been paying attention to like Facebook, social media, there's a lot of people crying about how come the movie wasn't nominated for Academy Award for Best International Film. People actually did their homework and got educated a little bit. They would have found out that Japan's nominated a movie called Perfect Days for Academy Award for Best International Film. And that movie came out earlier in 2023, and it was at the what are they called? Cannes Film Festival, which was highly received there. So it's not that Japan didn't want to submit -1, or it's not because Hollywood didn't, we didn't get snubbed, so to speak. So that's why that movie wasn't.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
And what I also heard is for that category, the movie had to have been out by October 31st, and -1 was not. So no matter what, this wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. So if you want to blame anybody, and there really is no blame because it's not. No. I mean, Toho couldn't do anything more than what they did.
Well, if you want to blame someone, blame yourself for having high expectations. There you go.
Yeah, or blame Toho. I mean, I'm sure Toho didn't expect it to take off the way it did. So they had already submitted a movie for Best Foreign Film, and you can only submit one. And then as far as Best Picture, it had to be out by a certain time, and it didn't make the cutoff, which makes me wonder why then they couldn't have nominated it maybe next year. But I don't know how it works because I honestly I don't care. Like it would have been cool if it got nominated, but like stop clicking on these rage bait YouTube videos. Like Hollywood hates us. Hollywood hates Godzilla. Middle finger to Godzilla fans. Like no, dude, it's none of that. Like I know we're in like outrage culture land for everything now, but like certain things you don't have to get outraged about. Certain things are just what they are. Sometimes there's no evil agenda. Sometimes it just is what it is, man. You know, so
if it's not the complaining about Hollywood hates Godzilla, it's Hollywood was embarrassed by Godzilla and everyone's ashamed. Disney's ashamed. Warner Brothers is ashamed. This has changed everything. No, it hasn't.
Believe me,
it got an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, it got an Oscar nomination for special effects. Like, let's think back on not even 10 years ago that people were saying, "Oh, the Godzilla movies in Japan are a guy in a crappy suit knocking over cardboard buildings." Like, this is a huge deal to get nominated. Is it going to win? I don't know, man. Guardians of the Galaxy has really good special effects. Like, I don't know, what they take into consideration as far as that stuff concerns. Believe me, if it loses, you're going to see 8 million YouTube videos about why Hollywood hates Godzilla again because they got ripped off at the Oscars. Like, it's not the case, So, hello there, Godzilla 2024. And who else is here? Somebody else. Oh, yeah, there you go. What's up, buddy? Thanks for joining in. So, yeah, it's awesome that it got nominated. I'm super happy. I never, again, like I said, in my life would have ever thought it would have been nominated for any sort of award. And you know what? It's nominated for like 12 Academy Awards in Japan. So there you go.
Oh, that's so ridiculously honored in Japan right now.
That's one more than
we
Shin
should be
Godzilla.
happy about that.
Yeah, that's one more than Shin Godzilla. And you know where it matters more? I mean, so rewind a bit. Remember last episode, I said I thought Godzilla was more popular in the U.S. than in Japan. So I reached out to Norman England, who lives in Japan and is in that, he's got connections in Toho. So he knows, and he agreed. He said it is probably true that it is Godzilla is currently more popular in the U.S. than he is in Japan. So, hey Nev, what's up, buddy? Hungover? Oh no. All right. Yeah, get some coffee. So yeah, that's cool. And then of course this week it started Thursday. We've got Black and White, or Godzilla -1 color, which I haven't seen yet, but I have tickets to see it tomorrow. Anybody else here seen it other than Christine, what is this, your 57th time seeing the movie? So yeah, Christine saw it in Black and White last night. I haven't yet. I'm seeing it tomorrow. I'm bringing someone who hasn't seen it at all, which is cool. I like introducing people to that kind of stuff. So that's cool. Either one of you guys seen it?
No.
Not yet. Are you going to see it, or are you just?
I'm probably not going to get a chance because football's today, and I work nights, so I'm probably not going to get a chance to see it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And then
I'm sure they're going to have it on Blu-ray release for it. So.
It'll be streaming soon enough. I was on the fence about it. I was kind of like, do I want to see it again? I mean, I do, but now I'm like, well, do I just wait for, but what the hell? You know what I did? I was on the fence and I put on the soundtrack a couple of nights ago while I was reading, and I ended up putting my book down and just listening to the soundtrack. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to go see it again. So, yeah. It's cool that -1 is getting all this love, but at the end of the day, they are what they are. Just happy to get new Godzilla. Yeah, I mean, I am too.
Yeah.
I like well-made Godzilla films too, not crappy Godzilla films. You know what I mean? And I fully 100% am behind you on that one as well. Go Lions! Fuck the 49ers.
Yeah, fuck the 49ers.
I'm gonna wait for the DVD. Yeah, and I wonder if the minus color will be an extra on the DVD.
I bet Toho will put it on the DVD, but probably in some sort of box set.
Yeah.
Probably in a $150 box set with a Bandai in there too.
With a figure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd buy it.
Me too. Or I just turn my TV black and white.
Big Ken seeing it today at 11. Speaking of buying things that are packaged together that are crazy expensive, did you see those Godzilla shoes on the Godzilla store with the figure?
Oh yeah.
It comes with, and they were $650.
The shoes don't even really look like anything Godzilla related.
No, not really. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. If this is like 150, 200 bucks, I'd buy it for a pair of shoes and a figure. And then I clicked on it and I was like, where's the price? Where's the price? I was like looking around. And then when I found it, I was like, oh, no.
Somebody will buy it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. It's pretty crazy expensive. Speaking of Godzilla store though, we all three got some Godzilla store stuff.
Like a day apart, basically.
Yeah, this weekend, and I have it here in my notes to talk about it, and they're totally in the other room.
Well, mine's downstairs on my island.
All right, there you go. Mike's got two of them. Yeah, so Mike's got the Hedorah. Hang on, I'll put you on the screen. Mike's got the Hedorah, which I think is really cool. Yeah, he's a cool figure.
I mean, I don't know why they did this and the landing stage, but you know what? I'm happy.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him.
But I think this is just really cool by Alente.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with that one too. It's a cool figure.
I like the vines. They add a lot to the size of it. I think it's just really awesome.
Yeah.
It's a lot nicer than I was expecting. And I didn't get Bagan.
You didn't get Bagan?
Okay. Nah.
Yeah, I got Bagan. I think I'm actually, after we're done here, I'm going to shoot a review of Bagan and try to get it out like Monday or Tuesday for my channel. So he's cool. I mean, dude, it's such a 90s monster because there's just like so much unnecessary crap hanging off of him and coming out of him and horns and this and that and the other. And I mean, and he's kind of really, didn't they just sort of tweak him a bit and turn him into Destroyer anyway? I mean, that's what he looks like to me. So
Destroyer, Space Godzilla, Bagan, they all have that.
They all have sort of that super spiky 90s, look. So, hello, Andrew. So yeah, that's my that's our news and whatnot portion of the show. Yeah, I know. Wait, Christine you didn't get the Rose by Alante?
She don't collect Bandai.
Yeah, but I thought what a weirdo. What a weirdo you are.
Christine doesn't collect Bandai?
No.
Oh, boo.
But she loves Biollante.
Below her.
Could have made an exception for Biollante. Man. I feel like that could have been an exception made to that one. So, like I said at the beginning, we're going to talk a bit about Son of Godzilla. That's like the focus of this episode. We kind of want to do maybe one a month where we look at a movie.
Yep.
So if there's like a specific movie you think we should do next, leave it in the comments. I'm thinking maybe for the next one, we'll do like a Heisei movie. And then just kind of bounce around. I didn't want to do them in order. I feel like doing them in order makes it predictable. And, this way we can kind of pick and choose.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah. And Son of Godzilla, like I told you guys, was on my brain to do first because when I thought of doing this episode, it was snowing. And Son of Godzilla is like every time it snows, it's one of those movies that I watch. I watch that one and I watch Godzilla Raids Again, both because of the snowy, sections of it. So Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla 84. Yeah, those are very high on my list. Yeah, those are really high on my list. I think
if I had chosen, we'd be doing Hedorah today.
Yeah. I think we're going to do Godzilla 98 next because that's what Rich wanted to do.
That would be funny. We should do it eventually.
Oh, we definitely got to do it. I mean, there's a lot of collectibles based on it. And believe me, I can. There's a lot of things I can say about that movie.
Yep.
But Hedorah would be
versus
great.
Hedorah. Yep.
84 would be great. Definitely. So, you can shoot us messages or leave it in comments, or if you're in the Godzilla Collectors group or on either one of our Facebook pages, let us know what you'd like to see because there's a lot of good stuff. So, having said that, Son of Godzilla.
Hell yeah.
Which came out. Oh, that's not what I want, you silly goose. That's what I want. There's the Japanese poster for Son of Godzilla, released in 1967. A lot of this information I got from this book here. I am not 100% sure if it's in print anymore. It's been out for quite a while. It's very good. I mean, obviously, it's been out for a long time. The Millennium movies and stuff weren't even out when this book came out. So, still one of my favorite resources for Godzilla stuff. I still go back to it when I'm looking up any kind of information. So if you can find it, it's still worth picking up. And I also obviously Wikizilla is a good resource too, obviously. But so yeah, released in 1967, Son of Godzilla. Which 1967 is an interesting year for kaiju movies because multiple kaiju movies came out that year. You had Gamera versus Gauss by Dai, however you say that. Dai. Nikatsu.
Dai makes the very best.
Yep. Nikatsu released Monster from a Prehistoric Planet, which is probably more well known as Gappa, the Triphibian monster. And if you go to certain restaurants, you can get fried Gappa. You can't. That's a Greg Cordero joke. Shochiku releases the X from Outer Space, which I believe is just the X from Outer Space here as well. Toho then released 2 movies. They released King Kong Escapes earlier in 67, and in December of 67, they released Son of Godzilla, which was the 8th entry in the Godzilla series. Directing this one is Jun Fukuda, this is his second Godzilla movie. Both of them so far take place on islands, which was a cost-cutting measure, obviously. Screenplay was written by Senkichi Sikazawa and Kazui Kiba. Senkichi Sikazawa wrote a ton of Godzilla stuff. Notably, this is the first Godzilla movie with special effects not directed by Eiji Tsuburaya, though he was credited as the special effects director. The actual directing duties were done by Sadamasa Arakawa, who was Tsuburaya's top protege at the time. The musical score was composed by Masaru Sato, which makes it his third,
yes,
right?
his third,
Godzilla
yeah.
Score. Yeah, he did Raids Again, he did Sea Monster, and he did this one. I don't have a lot on him. I didn't do a ton of research on him, but I do know he is a very well-respected composer in Japan. He scored a ton of Akira Kurosawa movies, which Akira Kurosawa generally was no slouch when it came to hiring actors and anybody to work on his movie. So, yeah. And, of course, this movie is like a freaking who's who of Toho stars, too. There's a ton of Toho stars in this. Yeah. It's got Tadao Takashima. It has Beverly Maeda, who this is her only kaiju movie and one of her only movies. Of course, Akihito. Wait, that's Akihito Hirata.
No, that's Akira Kubo.
That's Akira Kubo. Party foul by me. It also has Akihito Hirata.
There you go.
Sorry, Akira Kubo. It also has Kenji Sahara, which, man, it was hard to find a picture of him in this movie. And, of course, the great Yoshio Tsuchiya, who plays the controller of Planet X. And he also is
Dr.
Shindo.
Otani in Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah, he's great in everything. He's one of Kurosawa's big stock actors as well. He's in a ton of Kurosawa stuff. Film was released December 16th, 1967. It never received a U.S. theatrical release. The Walter Reed organization edited the English dubbed version, put it directly on television in 1969. They also did Sea Monster. The Gamera series in 1967 had started stealing like the kid audience from Toho. And I would think this probably is one of the reasons why this movie introduced his son. Although I would not say this is a kid's movie. I think it's a pretty well done sci-fi adventure movie. It definitely doesn't go anywhere near as deep into the kiddie stuff as the Gamera movies did. I mean, it has some silly moments in it, but nowhere near on that level of what like the Gamera movies were doing, and even what like some of the Godzilla movies got to a little bit here and there with some other things. But
yeah.
So yeah, that is that. Mike.
Yes.
What is this movie about?
All right. This movie is about a group of researchers on Sojal Island conducting weather control experiments. And yeah, island sucks. It's hot. There are human-sized mantises roaming around. They're all alone there. Yusio Soshia's character Furukawa is ready to crack. Everyone hates it there. Akira Kubo shows up as a reporter looking for a scoop. They attempt a weather control experiment to lower the temperature. Some interference screws everything up. It has the reverse effect. A radioactive heat storm occurs. It mutates the mantises, makes everything a lot hotter, a lot more miserable. The mantises break open an egg they find, which is the source of the interference. Something was calling from that spot. They crack open the egg, and out comes a baby Godzilla. And minutes later, the adult Godzilla shows up, makes things even worse for everybody. Godzilla kills 2 of the mantises, doesn't really give much of a shit for the baby Godzilla at first. We meet an island girl named Psycho. She's been living there since her father, I think he was a refugee from the war, had been living there. He had passed away, so she's been living by herself. She meets up with Akira Kubo's character Goro. Minya grows up a little bit, and Psycho should be in the NFL because she's able to throw melons at Minya from hundreds of feet away. Things get worse on the islands. A lot of the research crew starts suffering from a jungle fever, and there's red water there that they need to find to make them feel better. But the red water is in the lair of Kumonga, a giant spider that's currently hibernating. They manage to get the red water. They watch Godzilla teach Minya how to blow fire. Before that, it can only do smoke rings. Godzilla has to step on his tail to make the fire, but Minya eventually learns to do that by himself. Kamakuris goes after Psycho. Minya tries to save her, but accidentally awakens Kumonga. Kumonga webs up the research team's hideout. They've been staying in Psycho's cave, and they decide, okay, everything is really getting bad. Why don't we do one more control experiment? Let's lower the temperature so we can get the hell out of here. Because they know they're about to be rescued somewhere. They want to get off the island. Kumonga kills a Kamakuris. Webs up Minya, gets ready to sting Minya. Godzilla shows up. The monsters start fighting. The weather control experiment is a success. Starts to snow. The humans are able to get off the island. Godzilla and Minya kill Kumonga, but Minya is not strong enough to flee the island with Godzilla in the snow. So Godzilla turns around, hugs Minya as they're covered with snow. And the implication is the 2 of them are going to hibernate, but they'll be fine. And then a submarine shows up out of the ocean, scares the hell out of everybody, but they're all rescued, and that's it. We get a nice happy ending, and honestly, one of the best endings, in my opinion, of any Showa-era Godzilla film, maybe any Godzilla film. It is a great ending. I love this movie, guys. So that's the plot synopsis. So why don't we talk about a little bit our thoughts about this movie and maybe how we first saw it, what our history of it is.
Yeah,
Brian?
man, I'm down for that. Did you do that all off the cuff?
I have been watching this movie for like 35, 40 years. I know it in and out. When I listen to the soundtrack, I know what's happening on screen.
Yep.
Like, I can do this with all the Showa movies. I don't need notes for this.
Yeah. And Christine is correct. The soundtrack for this movie is fantastic.
It's Sato's
Excellent
best
soundtrack.
Godzilla score.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And then Leslie Chambers brings up a good point here. It is worth noting Toho did prioritize King Kong Escapes over Son of Godzilla because they did put the A team on that. They have Honda, Tsuburaya, and Ifukube.
Well, King Kong Escapes was also an international collaboration with Universal and Rankin Bass. So same thing with Gargantuas. That was a collaboration with UPA. So those films got the big A, the A budgets, the A priorities. Sea Monster and Son of Godzilla were afterthoughts, really.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks, Christine. Thank you.
So, Rich, you want to go? What are your thoughts on this flick? When's the first time you ever saw it?
Like, I love this movie. The first time I saw it, I had to have been 5 or 6. It was my second Godzilla movie after Godzilla vs. Megalon, so that's why I have such a sweet spot for this film. I probably watched Son of Godzilla more times than I can remember as a kid. So, Mike, like you just said, you can listen to the soundtrack and know exactly what's happening. In the same way with this movie, I could see it up in my head. But it was like I remember the first time I watched it. So it was recorded off of VHS. My parents did it because I had no idea what I was doing at that age, you know.
Yeah.
Nor did I know where to find these movies. So it was. I always remember it was right after Scarface because my parents must have recorded Scarface. So put on Son of Godzilla and say hello to my little friend. And, Al Pacino's dying, falling in that pool. And the next thing I know, boom, Son of Godzilla. So that is the perfect segue from one movie to a Godzilla movie. And I could see it in my head right now with the choppy, shitty tracking and everything on a recorded VHS tape. But nonetheless, it was always fun. But like again, it's just that the movie, it's charming, it's fun. You said it earlier, it's a great sci-fi movie. It's not too kiddie at all. I think really the kiddie stuff started after Destroy All Monsters. But lots of monster action, and in a relatable way, they're using kaiju that are easily represented in the real world: praying mantis, spiders. Yeah, it was those four, and of course Godzilla and Minya. I mean, this goof. I mean, God, he's such a goof. Look at him. He's like a puppet from Sesame Street. But it was just so charming. So I remember the scene with Kumonga. That actually kind of scared the shit out of me a little bit because it was like creepy and really filmed well. His appearance when he came out of the rocks and everything. It was like, damn, this is a big ass spider. And who likes spiders as a kid? No one. But yeah, so I was 5 years old. Big sweet spot for this movie. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it when I first saw it. So love it.
Yeah, I am older than both of you, so I saw it during the Creature feature. It was a somewhat regular on the Creature feature in Philly when I grew up. And then obviously it was for at least 1 year, it was part of the WOR Thanksgiving marathon that they would do. So I saw it there. I don't think it was on TV a ton, so I didn't see it until I got the VHS for Christmas 1 year when I was probably in like maybe 6th or 7th grade. But yeah, it's one of my favorite Showa movies. I can see, it's funny. I think there's certain people that don't like the idea of Minya or whatever, but I mean, like, I just think the movie all in all is really good. The special effects, I think, are really solid, especially when you consider the amount of wire works and marionette work they had to do for all of those different. I mean, just for Kumonga alone and the mantises. The mantises look great. They're way better. Kumonga and the mantises are way better than any giant bug from any of the American B movie, big giant bug movies from that same era. I mean, even better than I think than the giant ants and them. That would be the only thing that I would maybe compare them to. I mean, there's Earth versus the Spider and Tarantula, which were two giant spider movies. And Kumonga is way better realized than either of the spiders in those movies, which are just basically spiders that are real life spiders that are superimposed over, crap, pictures of army men or whatever. So, yeah, I agree with Ken that they are really, really good. And the effects, especially for Tsuburaya not really directing the effects, and for a first time, special effects director, really, really good. Soundtrack, like I said, is great. Love the human characters. I grew up with the dub, which I'm assuming you guys did, which is now kind of lost also, which is unfortunate because the dub on the newer releases, the DVDs and the Blu-rays, is not the dub that we would have grown up with. So if you've only ever heard the dub from those, the dub we grew up with is way better.
Oh yeah.
Way more professionally done. Doesn't have that anime voice acting style that a lot of the newer Godzilla dub movies have. So I still love that dub. I have it saved from I want to say it's the Red Menace restoration did it. You can find it online. It's easy. It's a great dub. The Red Menace restoration is great. It's in like beautiful high def. So if you ever wanted to see that, just try to track that one down. But yeah, man, I love that movie. I can't say enough good things about it. I think it's great. What about you, Mike? When's the first time you ever saw it?
All right. So, it's funny that Rich mentioned the shitty tracking on the old VHS tapes, because the first time I thought I was going to see Son of Godzilla, I actually did not, because the tape we had rented actually was broken. So we had a family
Was it
friend.
Scarface?
Yes, it was Scarface. So we had a family friend recorded off of TBS. I think it might have been the Brian, are you familiar with the Grandpa Super Scary Saturday with Grandpa Munster doing the yeah. That's how we saw that, and Sea Monster. That might have been 87. Eventually I got this though.
Yep, that's the one I have.
Treasures tape. Although this one does not work. I had to replace it with this one a few years in.
Yeah.
The Anchor Bay tape. But what's there to say about the film that you guys haven't already said? Kamakuris and Kamunga are amazing. I don't think Toho ever topped them. I think the versions from Final Wars are pathetic in comparison. I like the tone of the film. It's fun and light, but it's not childish, as silly as Minya can be. I don't think the film is the embarrassing disaster a lot of fans make it out to be. Sato's score is amazing. Like we said already, I can visualize it in the film in my head when I listen to it, every track. What I really have grown to love about it are the human characters, especially Sushiya's Furukawa, who's just he's done throughout the entire film, and I can really relate to that. I love just how close he is to a screaming meltdown the entire film. Just the way he just runs off with the gun before Godzilla shows up. Like, he's going back to Japan, even if he has to swim home. And then when they get the jungle fever, he's got the gun and he is trying to shoot people. Like, that's how far gone he is. So at the end, when everyone's celebrating the happy ending and Furukawa is actually finally smiling, that's like, that along with Godzilla and Minya together in the snow, you actually feel for these characters. You feel for Psycho that she's leaving her home, her entire life. She lived there. So when she says goodbye to Godzilla and Minya, she's actually waving goodbye to her entire life. And if you pay attention to the film, you can really connect with these guys, because you can connect with how miserable an experience they're having. The jokes work, like Goro washing vegetables in someone's underwear basket when they do their laundry. Like, that shit's funny. But it's not childish. Minya doesn't have his own stupid theme song. There's no stock footage. It's a really well-made film for what Toho really wasn't prioritizing. And I really do love Arakawa's work. Between this and Destroy All Monsters, he had a slightly different style than Tsuburaya, and you could definitely see it. The matte work is great. The optical processing is great. Like, the character's running away from one of Kamakuris's claws as it flies overhead on fire. Like, that's a flawless shot. I mean, the Minya and Godzilla suits are not great, but after 40 years, I've really warmed up to the Godzilla suit. Like, it doesn't bother me. And I love Minya, and I just think he's such a fun little character. I've never been bothered by him. But
so a lot of people I think agree with Primax here that the suit is the problem with the movie. Like, I don't love the suit, and I don't understand I understand what they were trying to do, which is make the Godzilla look like Minya. I don't understand why they didn't just make Minya look like Godzilla. It's just kind of weird to me that was the route they went. I think in certain shots, the suit does look cool. I think from the front, like head-on shot, it looks derpy as hell. Yeah. But I think from certain side shots, it does look kind of cool. He's a little baggy though and stuff, but I mean, all in all, that is probably one of the weaker points of the movie, but Christine agrees about the dub, that it's not the same tone, which is 100% right.
Those Toho export dubs are pretty terrible.
They're bad, yeah. Son of Godzilla ain't bad. Also, Minya, and I agree with this. Minya is overhated, and I think part of it's like that segment of fans that want the Godzilla movies to be serious, and you can't look at Minya and be like, "Well, this is a serious thing." And I think part of it also stems from people just really hating on Godzilla's Revenge.
Even that's overhated, in my opinion.
Which is overhated too, because I like Godzilla's Revenge, and we'll get to that on this at some point. I think, not today, but when we get to that movie, I think it's a fine movie. I kind of like it. And then this is cool too. I remember when this all came out about the you can see some of the tops of the sets in the Blu-ray thing, which I do think that's kind of cool when you see like the behind the scenes stuff by accident, even though it's So
doesn't bother me at all. I don't mind seeing strings and stuff like that.
Yeah. What's up, Rich?
I want to go back to the suit.
Okay.
I always defend the suit. Godzilla's a mutation, so he's mutating. He's in the middle of a metamorphosis. Transitioning from ugly, scary to more friendly and destroy all monsters. But I always felt like he looked fatherly, like in Son of Godzilla, just from his appearance.
He's dad bod Godzilla.
Yeah, dad bod, but like maybe he just had too much radiation for dinner or something. But like even in his facial looks, which is depending on the angle and the perspective, it looks like he's like, this son of a bitch kid. I just want to sleep. Like he's rolling his eyes. He's like, ugh.
He's so fed up.
Yeah, he's like I don't want to be bothered. Like I just destroyed Tokyo, kicked the 3-headed dragon's ass. Like
I want to sleep. He wants to sleep. He just wants to sleep in this movie.
So, but I love the suit. I've always been a fan of the suit. He looks big. It looks like a really tall suit compared to other ones.
Nakajima wasn't in it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why, because
but yeah,
I will say
I
about the suit. Yeah, I like it too, and I will say about the suit, his appearance when he comes out of the ocean is one of his best ones in the Showa series. I love that first appearance when he's running toward the when that guy's just like I don't know, he thinks he's gonna swim back to Japan.
Yeah.
after he goes crazy with the gun. But that's a great scene. So
Brian, what I love about it, at that point, you're really feeling how can things get much worse for these people. And then the last thing you want to see when you go to the beach is Godzilla. So when they run back to the camp and they're like, look, it's Godzilla. It's like, fuck. It's like, we not know. And then he steps on the camp and he just makes everything worse.
Yeah. Hello, Albert. Hooray for Son of Godzilla. I agree.
Yep.
So yeah, man, that is basically our synopsis of Son of Godzilla. But it wouldn't be a collectibles show if we didn't talk about collectibles. And there is a lot of collectibles based around this flick, and we're only doing stuff from this movie. So we're not going to do like the Final Wars version of Minya or anything like that. This is literally just stuff. Now, some of the Minya stuff, you might say, well, is that from Destroy All Monsters or from like if it's a show of Minya, we're just gonna count it as that. So obviously, Mike, you're the expert on the vintage stuff, which obviously would be the first collectible stuff based on the movie. So I will let you discuss some of that.
Do you have a picture of the green Marasan Minya? There we go. Okay, so this was the very first Minya collectible, 67 from Marasan. So the film would have been playing in theaters at the time. So this is the oldest you're going to get. So yeah, Marasan, the Marasan toys were very simplistic. They were for very little kids. They were very cheap. I guess the Bandai of their day, but much more simplistic. And it's made for little kids, and I think it's cute. It's, ugly cute, but cute. I have this. I think it's cool. What I don't have, they put out a super rare red variant of this that is so rare, most hardcore collectors have actually never seen one in person. I've been lucky enough to see one in person, but it's one of the rarest Godzilla vinyl figures out there. So yeah, we got the Marasan Minya. And then a few years later, here's mine. There he is. And a few years later, Bullmark got the license, and they started putting out Godzilla figures. So there's the Bullmark Minya, initially put out by a company, I think it was called Shimano Toys. For a very brief period, I think in '69, they did Minya and Gabara, but both of those figures were later put out again with Bullmark insignias on their feet. I know Gabara definitely was. So they did this Minya in 1969, 1970, not 100% on that. But this one was, while the green Minya was smaller and like was in scale to all the other figures, this one was a full 8 inches tall. So this is a lot of Minya. People have compared this toy to Gary Coleman. I get it. I get it. It's one of those toys you're gonna get if you're a completist with these Bullmark and Morrison toys. I totally get it. I have it. I like it for what it is. But those were, and I know there was, I think, a wind-up Minya that popped out of an egg made by either Bullmark or Morrison in the 60s. That's super, super rare. I've never even seen one. But then it was not until the early 90s that we got any more Minya figures. And that would be when Bandai came along. Rich, you want to take this one?
Yep. So the Bandai. Sorry, I got some work stuff bouncing back and forth on my end. My bad.
Like, listen, I'm talking about Godzilla. Important things are happening in my life.
I know.
Like, the planes will have to wait.
Snow and an airport don't mix well. Okay.
Yeah, I bet.
I can imagine.
And all right, so Bandai 8-inch Minya. This what year did this come out? 92, 93?
91.
91. Wow, I'm all off. You should have did this one.
Sorry.
Mine's actually in my Bandai room. But it's at a scale. Well, no, it's in scale technically with the 8-inch line.
It is.
You know, so he stands about 6 inches tall, but he's really in the 8-inch scale. Never reissued, right?
No, there's a bootleg that's fairly popular. A lot of people have.
I've seen the bootleg. But I've been on a Bandai binge lately. I've got a lot of comments or whatnot asking about Bandai figures, and then somebody last night was asking about, because you mentioned bootleg, about the 2003 8-inch Godzilla. As we know, there's plenty of bootlegs out there of that. And the best way to know what you're getting is if it has a tag. If it doesn't have a tag, make sure you're looking at your pictures really well before you make the purchase. Try to look for that pinhole where the plastic tag was shot into the figure. That's another indication. That would be hard, but I've done that because I'm insane. But I only buy the tag stuff because I'm insane.
Hey, Brian, bring the camera. Yeah, there we go. And the light in this room sucks. This would be the tag. For Minya has a classic Destroy All Monsters photo. Minya's name on the back. You can see that. And the pinhole would be right behind the head.
Yep. Boom.
Look at that. That's good pinhole knowledge by you.
Yep.
And then the other thing to note about, if you're new to Bandai and curious or cautious about bootlegs, is the Toho markings, Bandai markings on the bottom of the feet are usually scratched out or like puttied over, so to speak. So they don't. You would notice that on the bottom of the foot.
And I believe the bootleg Minya is very glossy and has very beady eyes.
Yeah. Speaking of bootlegs, I have the Bandai 8-inch Megalon and the bootleg. And on my bootleg, it's got the Bandai markings like puttied over and with just a shitty made in China on the bottom of the foot. I guess you can kind of tell.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
And the bootleg Megalon has no paint on the eyes either.
Yeah, no paint on the eyes. The back of his
wings,
flippity flappities are not painted. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Anyway,
interesting. Also, of course, from Bandai, we got a Kamacuras. Is there a Kamacuras? Is what I always called it. So he's a nice figure. Not one of my favorite figures. He's hard to pose, I feel like. Because of just the way his legs are. He just sort of has to kind of hang out.
You gotta get him just in the right pose.
Yeah. And of course, in the Godzilla memorial box, we did get a really nice sculpted 67 Godzilla, which that's one of the few 67 Bandai figures I own. In fact, it's the only one I own, I think.
No, they've never done that before or since. Only one.
Yeah, that's a great figure. And of course, then we got this derpy guy, I want to say a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Gojiban Minya.
Yeah.
That's from my
He's
daughter's collection. Yeah, she loves him.
He's pretty cool. I actually have, I think I have all the ones that they've released from that so far. So he's cool. And I think that covers Bandai, right?
Not quite, because
No.
very soon the new Bandai Mini is coming out.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Cool, that's exciting news.
Which apparently
That's
is not in scale with the rest of the 6-inch line. It's going to be a larger figure. Which,
interesting.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Probably going to be the same size as the original.
Yeah. I fully agree that I do also wish if they did an 8-inch Godzilla 67, that would be a purchase. I love the sculpt of that one. It's one of their really, really good sculpts. And then I guess we'll move on to Marmot. Marmot actually has quite a bit of Son of Godzilla merch, starting with their Monster Heaven Kumonga, which is a beautiful figure. Really happy with that. I don't know release dates and things, Mike or Rich. So if you guys know those types of things,
I think that's the Final Wars version.
Is it?
Yeah, that would probably put it 2006 or 7.
Huh? Because I have it. I always assumed it was just a fancy full Showa version.
Marmot never did Monster Heaven versions of Kamacuras and Kumonga, just the Final Wars ones.
Oh, into the trash with this.
It's still cool.
Yeah, it is cool. See, I lied. I said we weren't going to do the Final Wars version, and we did. They also did this guy.
There we go.
Yeah, which is a great figure.
That would have been the very first Kumonga figure ever made.
Okay, and he's a big figure, really big. So he's a good one. I also have this set, although not in this colorway, which is the Marmot Parababy set, which comes with a little Minya
in the egg.
Little Minya coming out of his egg, which is a great little figure. And the Kumonga is decently sized. I mean, he's Parababy sized, but he's cool. He's cool. So that's those guys. They also did a Vinyl Paradise Kamacuras, which I own. By the way, 99% of these photos are from clubtokyo.com or .org, excuse me. So if you ever need any reference material for anything or just research, man, that website is invaluable. So that's where I got
every colorway of every toy.
Yeah. This is where I got 90% of these pictures from. So, but yeah, there's that one. I do own this one. We also have the Parababy Kamacuras, which is a cool little set as well. They come in a set of 3, if I'm not mistaken. I bought them in a set of 3, so I'm assuming that's how
each one has a different pose. One's got its claws folded in, one's got the claws out, one's got the wings open.
Yes. That's a cool set. And of course they did Minya, which is a great little derpy figure. Perfectly captures the derpiness. Then they did the Vinyl Paradise figure.
That's a hunk of vinyl, that little Minya.
Yeah. And I actually have this one. They did a green one as well. Apparently this one's a lot harder to find. I've had there's a guy CJ, he's always trying to get, I think he actually finally found one, but he was trying to get this one for me for a while.
The blue-green one was a standard release. This one was like a variant.
Yeah. Then of course you got the Parababy Minya set, which comes with the base, which is pretty awesome. It's got the tower, and that's a fun little set as well. I love the Parababy sets are great.
That Minya sculpt is great.
Yeah. And what else did they do? They did a Godzilla 1967, which
this is a beautiful figure.
One of my favorite Marmot sculpts. It's so nice. Great figure. Love that figure. And I think this is the final one here. And this is also one of my favorite sets. This is a Parababy set. And it's the Godzilla 67 with the just hatched Minya figure, which great set.
You could put together the entire film with the Parababy sets.
Yes, that's how they are on my shelf. They're all together in one group. Such a great output of figures from Marmot for those. That's why they're so good. And so that's Marmot. X Plus. Rich, I'll let you take over X Plus.
All right.
I think I got everything, but I'm not 100% sure. But what I didn't get, I'm sure you have behind you. So
yeah, so X Plus, they're all on my shelf with the exception of these figures right here. But X Plus did a 25 centimeter trio of the Kamacuras. They did there's that one. And if you got the box set, basically all three of them are identical. They come on a little that stand there that's supposed to look island-like. The Kumonga.
Those are really neat.
Those are
nice sculpts.
Such a cool
really
figure.
Nice. Really neat, beautiful sculpt.
I love the sculpt. Yeah.
Stupid fragile. Ken, I believe I sold you one of mine, and I've never been more sketched out about shipping something than I was shipping that. I think I double boxed it with peanut. I put it in a box, stuffed it with peanuts, put that box in another box, and then stuffed it around that. Because I was pretty nervous about shipping that because
those antennas look.
The antennas, the arms, and I've seen people's figures break, because of the ball joints that they sit on. And I had ditched the box a while ago. And the reason I sold one is because technically I still have three. Because moving on to Kumonga, the Kumonga, if you got the Rick, comes with a webbed up Kamacuras, on his base.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
I'd grab it, but that island shelf is crowded the fuck. But it looks really nice, because you got a Kamacuras webbed up. The standard Kumonga comes with a small little rock that's got some web on it, and it's not nearly as impressive as the Rick. But the Kumonga figure, massive. It's disgusting looking. It is gorgeous looking. I think X Plus, they literally nailed that figure. And then when they reissued it for Destroy All Monsters, they gave it to Red Eyes. But
yeah, that's the one I have.
All variation there. Then,
Mike, is that the Kumonga in your hand?
There you go.
Oh, Mike has it. Yeah, it's freaking huge.
It is big,
massive.
Yeah.
I should have sent you the photo where mine attacked me while I was taking a shower. It wasn't fun. But then for the 25 centimeter, yep, there you go, perfect. They did the 25 centimeter 67 and Minya. I got it. Mine's probably. I don't even know where my 25 Minya is. Somewhere out back there. But I used to have the 25 centimeter Godzilla. I sold it because I had picked up the 30 centimeter, which nailed the look of the suit. The 25 centimeter looks like somebody just smushed his face in. It just something's off about that figure. So, but that had come out, gosh, I don't know, 2012, 13 or so. So that was pretty old one. But the 30 centimeter nails it. And Minya, I think, that. Yeah, those were the Rick extras for the 30 centimeter. This had previously come out, I want to say, with another X Plus release, but they reissued this little booger with the 30 centimeter one here, along with the full-size Minya again. So that made getting the Rick that much better. And what's cute about this one is he's squishy, so you can squeeze a little bastard.
Oh, yeah.
But the 30 centimeters, money. I love the 30 centimeter. Nailed it. What else? I think that was it from X Plus.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then miscellaneous wise, there's quite a lot of just other items out there. You've got oh wait, hang on, let me get you back on the big screen.
Yeah, I think these Iwakura?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be,
I forget when I got this. Somebody threw it in
cool.
as a gift, so it looks really nice. Disgusting.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anyway.
Let me catch up on comments. See. Tracking down collectibles is pretty hard and pricey. Yeah, it is. Everything's pricey nowadays with with collecting anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff for this movie. So let's look at the some of like the other, the not big three. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of M1 for this movie. The M1 Minya
would have been the Bullmark reissue, right?
That, it's just the Bullmark. They never did an original sculpt of it. They just went with that hideous freak version. So that's the M1. And then they never did a Godzilla 67. They've never done a Mantis or a Spider or anything. So they did the Spider from Ultra Q or something, which looks kind of like Kumonga. Is it an Ultra Q monster, that Spider?
Yeah.
So then you've got the modern Morrison Godzilla 67, which is pretty nice sculpt. Not bad. I don't hate it. I don't own it, but I don't hate it. I wouldn't kick it off my shelf if I had one. The Morrison Kamakiris, which actually this is Mike's picture. I actually bought this figure back in the day because it was listed on eBay. This is when I was first getting into collecting Safubi. This was listed as a marmot, so I bought it. And then Mike was like, "Nah, that's not a marmot, it's Marathon." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want this," so I sold it to Mike. Then you've got the bear model, which is super cute, little guy.
You just want to pinch his cheeks.
Yeah, that's a really cute little figure there. The bear model Godzilla 67 is also very cute. And he's also like a stumpy little guy. He's not a very big figure. You've got the Yamanaya Minya, which I don't really know much about that company. Like they didn't do a ton of figures, according to Club Tokyo.
Oh, Brian, I wanted to mention that Bear Model did a set of that Godzilla and Minya painted to look like there was snow on them with a big plastic backdrop of snowy mountains that you could pose them with. I have that somewhere. I'd have to find it.
Yeah, that sounds actually really cool. They're really I love both these. I would pick these up if I saw them at G-Fest or something. They're really cool. And then of course, if you've got a few $1,000s to spare, there's the Pilot Ace version, which I can't even imagine what that would sell for at this point, because Pilot Ace stuff is just crazy expensive. And then YMSF did a Minya, a Godzilla, and a Kamakiris. I don't have a picture of the Minya, but I do have the Kamakiris, which that's a Kumonga, excuse me, which is really nice, well painted, well sculpted. YMSF stuff I think tends to be hit or miss. Speaking of misses, here's their Godzilla. It's friggin' terrible. Yeah, it's really bad.
I remember when those came out, people were like, "Oh, these are good substitutes for Memorial Box ones," and I was like, "No, guys, they're really." It
looks like a Memorial Box one that you stuck in the microwave for 15 seconds. It's terrible.
God,
it's really bad.
If that figure made a sound, it would be like,
yeah.
YMSF's done some cool figures, but their Godzillas are always pretty big.
They're hit or miss.
For the most part. Yeah.
I mean, look. I mean, that's really nice, and then that's really not. And then their
hamburger meat.
Yeah, and then their Kamakiris is nice too. She's not bad. I actually
copies the Bandai though, really hardcore with that paint.
Yeah, but I think from a standing and putting on your shelf standpoint, it's probably a lot more stable of a figure than the others. So
thicker vinyl for sure.
And just a better positioning of how the legs and stuff are, I think too. So yeah, the Pilot Ace is amazing. I'm sure I've got an amazing price. So that's what we've got for that. Again, there's a lot of stuff out there to be found. It's just how much money do you want to spend on it? Oh, look, here he is. I didn't even realize I had him with me. Yeah, here's
he's so cute.
The marmot, yeah.
I got the Bandai Memorial Box one over here.
Yeah, here's the 67 marmot, which again, like just such an awesome sculpt.
Is that the glossy one, Brian?
Yeah.
Or the matte vinyl.
No, this one's matte. It's so my light in here is really weird. No, this is the matte. Didn't this get reissued by like Metacom or something?
Yes, because the first release was made of blue vinyl, which looked kind of like you could see it.
No, yeah, this one looking at the feet would tell me that this is more of a dark. Yeah, so I think
maybe
this
yours
is the Metacom
release or something. Yeah, Metacom.
Yeah, I think this might be the Metacom. And then the Minya also is great as well. So yeah, well represented movie. Sort of an underrated movie, I think, by some sections of the fandom, but it's a great flick. I love it. I think we're all in agreement that it is an awesome flick. So let's see. Is there any comments? YMSF Minya is actually amazing. The best eyes I've ever seen. I think I used to have that YMSF Minya. Did they do a couple of different versions of him? Did they do like a just hatched one? I feel like there might have been.
I think they did.
Yeah, I feel like I had the just hatched one, but I'm not 100% sure.
Their original Mino was one of their very first ones, and I think they meant it to be a Destroy All Monsters version or something. I know I've got that somewhere.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks, man. Yeah, marmots, man. I love me some marmots. My original idea for my channel was to review crap from my collection, but I've gotten so much stuff in the last month and a half that I haven't reviewed a single actual Safubi figure. So what's this one? I missed the Marathon 67 with the I mean, with a lot of these figures, you're gonna have to probably find them on the
I forgot about the Duffel Reel. This is when you know you got too much shit, when you start forgetting stuff.
Nah, that's a great figure, man. That's awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. So cool. So cool. Yeah, so thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. I think we'll be back in a couple weeks. I don't know. We've got some ideas. I think we wanted to do a history of Bandai. Maybe break that into two. Maybe we do an 80s Bandai and a 90s Bandai episode.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Even the 90s is a lot. We'll see how many episodes end up be doing from that.
Yeah. What's up, Thomas?
Yeah, I can definitely chit-chat about Bandai.
Yeah.
We all can.
80s alone would take up an episode, but 90s, oof, man.
Yep.
Yeah, so, and that's more your guys' domain than mine, but and then again, we're going to do some more movie-centric ones if this is a popular way to do it. Let us know what you thought. And then, like I said, let us know some movies you'd like us to do. I think just to keep it interesting, maybe we'll do a Heisei one next, and then just kind of bounce around. Maybe we'll put a poll up if you're in GCG, which just broke 6,000 members. I want to say last week or something like that. So, maybe we'll put a poll up in there and and let you guys pick. That might be cool. So that'd be good. Rich,
hello.
What do you got going on coming up in the next week or two? I know you got 8 million figures in the mail.
Yeah, so I've actually, for those that have tuned in and saw my wonderful 2023 collection haul, I don't know, I say that very sarcastically because it's obnoxious. It's not smart. It's irresponsible. Literally, it is just insane, but I've pretty much, I'm finished with that big splurge. I do have one more box on the way, but it's only 4 figures in it. So that's nice. But I've been slowly moving the figures off the kitchen island, dubbed Monster Island, up to the Bandai room, and surprisingly enough, I'm finding spots for almost all of it thus far. But I'm going to start knocking reviews out for the newer stuff, like the Coin Parking Delivery, Godzilla 91s, and a lot of the newer Bandais. What else do I got on the way? I think that was it for right now. So one more box with 4 Bandais in them, and then
you're going to want the break because I think Bandai is going to go crazy this year.
I know, God. I mean, I've bought more Bandai in the last 3 months than I bought in 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This year was, I bought a lot this year too.
Yeah. So, when is this show going weekly? Man. So it's funny because Rich you put out a good amount of content.
I got to get back to putting out good, good amount.
I put out, we do this, I do a podcast and I do my reviews. I try to do a review every 2 weeks. There's a guy, this guy I follow, his name's Bobby Skullface. He does toy reviews and Transformers reviews. And this cat puts out more content than anybody I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how he does it. He puts out a 2+ hour podcast every week. He has a Patreon. He puts out a review on Patreon every day.
That's probably how he's able to do it. He makes his money off Patreon.
No, I mean, he has a job. He's got a full-time job. And I'm just dude, I don't know how, I was telling my wife, I'm man, this episode specifically, there's a decent amount of work that goes into this. Yep. So to answer your question, when is this show going weekly? Probably after I retire. So sometime in the next 20 years. No, I mean, I think every other week for this is fine. I mean, it gives us something to look forward to. And there is like a little bit of prep work that needs to be done. Like, oh, how terrible. We have to talk about toys.
Yeah, I've been kicking around the idea of bringing, again, Fresh Vinyl Live back.
Yeah, I saw.
So should I do that? That would be a weekend night gig,
I love Fresh Vinyl Live.
Yeah.
I think Fresh Vinyl Live's got that fun, like it's a Friday night, Saturday night, we're all just having a couple of beverages and hanging out feel to it, which is also super fun.
Yeah, so I got to brainstorm and we'll see about that. But then we could do, I know Sam wants to do Fresh Vinyl Live again. So we could do that like every other week in between Kaiju and Coffee or something or whatever. But
yeah, I feel like in the summer this might be something too. We could switch it to maybe an evening once in a while also and do like Kaiju and cocktails. Depending on what it is. My idea for this was just because Sunday mornings, especially in the winter, there's just nothing going on. Like if I wasn't doing this, I'd be on the couch just flipping channels. So I'd rather do this and hang out with you guys. You know what I mean? And hang out with the commenters and everything. Like this is fun to me. So Matthew, thanks. I think it will be fun to do it just individual movies. And then, there's enough other stuff that every other, we don't have to do every episode, but there's enough other stuff going on. There's, Godzilla X Kong is coming out. We're definitely going to have to do something with that. There's all kinds of good stuff. Thomas, thank you. Congrats on the 6K. Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks.
It's been 12 years for GCP,
2011.
right?
2011.
13 years. So, started by Tim Crane and you, right? You were one of the originators.
Yep.
And then Rich, you were in there. I came in 2014. I've told the story a million times. I joined because I was going to sell my Godzilla collection.
Yeah, I remember that.
And here we are.
I joined, I think there was like 30 or 40 people in the group. So I joined only it was right after the group was created. It wasn't even 2 weeks old. And I found it. And I'm like, home. Like, this is great. And I already knew most of you guys, just from, as we mentioned before, on Monster Hero and whatnot. So it was.
Yeah, we all knew each other there.
Yep.
We didn't know each other, but we knew each other.
Yeah. I was really stubborn about joining any Godzilla Facebook groups. I was super diehard on like sticking with the old forums of like the Monster Zero forums and stuff. I was like, I don't want to join a Facebook group. I like to lay. And I honestly, like to this day, I do think the forum layout is more. It's better suited for like having conversations than
you can
than
keep
the way
a conversation
Facebook
going for
years. You can keep conversations going, and whereas Facebook, it gets buried within an hour and a half or 2 hours, unless it's something huge like a film discussion. But the problem again with Facebook is you get 30 different people posting about the movie in their own post instead of having a film discussion in one thing like you would get on a board. So
because the board would have a talkback thread just for the film, and that might be live for a whole decade.
Exactly. Finally I made it. Godzilla cartoon sci-fi horror fan 2K. Well, welcome. Albert, Bobby Skullface is pretty fun. Yeah, he's a good dude. Actually, Bobby Skullface, I'm going to be on his podcast. I was originally going to be on it a couple weeks ago, and then weather and schedules and everything got screwed up, but he wants to do a Godzilla centric episode of his podcast. So I'm going to be on that. I'm going to drive out to him and be on. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Thomas Lee might start picking up more Bandai. Oh no, now's the time, man. Because the Bandai is, especially if you're buying it, buy it like when it comes out. Cause like that Bagan, what was that? $30 on the Godzilla store? And now it's already ridiculous. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. So
that fucking post the other day when that I know we talked about it in a private chat, but another thing that irks me when people start throwing out the scalper word, again, without being educated at all about what it costs to get figures from Japan to the dealer's door to the seller's door. Yeah. So somebody posted up, it was like $60, $70 shipped from eBay. That's a fair price. Sorry.
That's probably about right if you calculate shipping and everything.
If you couldn't get it on the Godzilla store, you're stuck paying more. That's simple.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay a late tax. I mean, that's how it is with everything, though. Like when I started collecting Transformers during COVID, because I needed to do something else, 90% of the stuff I was buying had been released years prior with the third-party Transformers, and like I just had to suck it up. If I wanted it, I had to pay the late tax.
Pay to play.
And so to me, a scalper to me is somebody who goes to Walmart and buys every one of those Godzilla remote control Godzillas that everybody's going crazy about right now. Like fills their card up with those things and then immediately puts them on Facebook for 3 times the amount. That's a scalper, and that's somebody who's artificially creating an inflated price because they're the ones who went out and bought all the stuff.
You can't do that with these toys, the Japanese stuff.
Yeah, if you're buying something from Japan, you have to take into account that the shipping cost might be as much as the cost of the figure.
Yeah.
So the lowest you're gonna like Sean's prices on Showcase. Like, I'm sorry, you're not gonna beat his prices, other than buying it yourself from Japan in a store.
And I love what he's doing. That he's putting up the upcoming Bandais and allowing you to cancel your pre-orders if they show up on the Godzilla store.
Yeah, that's
which
awesome.
I think is so nice of him. Like, yeah, you go pay $60 through him for the Flying Hedra, but if it shows up on the store for $30, you can cancel the pre-order. He's cool with that.
Yeah, dude, Sean's a good dude. So
people wonder why everyone buys from him.
Yeah, I 100% support Sean. He's a solid guy.
Yeah,
really awesome vibes here. Thanks, Albert.
Thank you.
It's a great show. The unique time slot. Thanks for thank you. Yes, I also missed the Monster Zero form. We always lament the end of the Monster Zero form.
I wouldn't have been as bothered
awesome
by them stopping being able to post if they hadn't just removed the whole thing. I would love to be able to
I wish
go
it was
back and
archived.
read the old conversations because there was some real, like the whatever happened to thread about people who've disappeared from the hobby. That went on. That was great. The film talkbacks, my toy reviews I was doing there. I wish it was all still there, but they just bombed it completely. You can't even go back to it.
We should talk to Richard Cox about coming on and maybe we can do a Monster Zero episode, just like how what it was like to run it. I mean, I know they had like a DDoS attack on it at one point that shut it down for, I want to say like a month. And it was just like, man, it was like going through withdrawals. Like I was on that page every day, multiple times a day, talking to people. And when it went down for a month, it was like, fuck. So,
and just the legendary Fallout threads from like when Final Wars came out. Like,
oh God. Yeah. Bandai's making it hard to thin out the collection. Yeah. I'm probably going to be buying a new shelf here at some point because I mean, it's just, let's see. Sean's prices. Yep. Showcase. Yeah. So, all right, Rich. So you're thinking that, I'm sure, Rich, you'll have some stuff out. I think today I'm going to do a review of Bagan for my channel, which will be out sometime, hopefully at the beginning of the week. It's so funny how reviews work. My review of that Super 7 Destroyer is like hitting 2,000 views, and my Maquette Godzilla is at like 203 views. I'm like,
I think there's a bigger audience.
This thing.
There's a bigger audience for the Super 7 stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, I guess nobody gives a shit about this figure.
All the kids and their articulated toys, they love that stuff.
Yeah. So I feel like Bagan's a popular one. That should get some eyes.
Yeah, sometimes you have to play to the demographic of YouTube.
Yeah. Well, my idea behind starting a channel, and I'm glad I did it because I almost never really, I was at the point where I was barely spending time with my collection. And so for me to start reviewing the stuff, the reason I wanted to do it really is just so I would like spend some time with the stuff. And it's kind of fun. It's just fun editing it and putting it together and being stupid. You know what I mean? And like just being silly and just putting it out there. Like it is what it is. Like to me, it's like just an extension of the hobby. I would never want to do it, and be like, try to like monetize my, like to me, like I'm doing it because it's just another way to participate in the hobby that I enjoy doing. And it, wasn't available to me, 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Like, you would have never thought of it. So, yes, Aaron was a good dude. That was he was the creator of Monster Zero, which was originally a website and then it turned into a forum. But yeah, he was a good guy. So yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm over caffeinated.
That's okay.
Yeah, it happens.
People like the vibe, so we're cool.
Yeah, people like the vibes.
People like the vibe.
Caffeinated vibes. All right. Well, thanks guys for hanging. Subscribe to Rich's channel. Obviously, subscribe to my channel. Obviously, come hang out in GCG if you're not already. We love to have you. And, cool.
Yep.
Thanks for hanging.
See you
Appreciate
next
it.
time.
Yeah, man. See y'all soon. Let me bump us out of here.
How about some coffee?
Coffee? I like coffee.